Well, good evening everybody, and the time being 6:06, I'd like to declare this council meeting open. And advise that, welcome everyone present, I've done, and advise that the meeting will be digitally recorded in accordance with the council policy, digital recording of council meetings, to record meetings of council, to assist in the preparation of the minutes and allow live streaming of council meeting. Also, like Acknowledgement of Country, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians on the land on which we meet today, the Tomagina people, and to pay our respect to those that have passed before us, their history and their culture. Record of attendance, I understand Counsellor Courtney is an apology. Leave of absence previously approved, nil. Confirmation of the minutes of our previous meeting, item 2.1. The recommendation there, would someone like to move?
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunyan moved. Seconded Councillor Bramish. Any corrections to the minutes are to be identified and agreed at this point prior to taking a vote to adopt the minutes. Everyone happy with how the minutes read? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Declarations of interest. Are any councillor or staff have an item on tonight's agenda that they have an interest in? They like to register? I take all that as nil. Announcements, 4.1, announcements by the Mayor. Okay, got a pretty exciting weekend. We for the Waratah Wynyard Council and the Wonders of Wynyard Information Centre. The Qantas Australian Tourism Awards were held in Maroochydore on Friday night. 900 guests in attendance. Tasmania fared really well in the awards on the evening, and the Wonders of Wynyard Information Centre took out the National Award for the Best Visitor Information Centre in Australia. And I was there with 2 staff members to receive that award, and the coverage we received from that is unbelievable. It brought people from all walks of life, the business, the professionals that were doing advertising, and plus the competitors and the opposition that were in the field for that particular award. It brought us all together, and we shared what we had to offer and had some great discussions. When you look at those that were in the field, New South Wales had the Bathurst Visitor Information Centre, you know, the racing capital. The Northern Territory had the Tourism Top End, a big organisation, and Queensland had the Longreach Visitor Information Centre. And I can tell you, Longreach, I've been there a couple of times, and they have got a Visitor Information Centre and a half. And when you hear all these ones that were in for the award read out, you sit there and you think to yourself, oh, I wonder how we go here. And out we come. Wonders of Wynyard took it out. I'd like to pay credit to the effort that our staff put into preparing the submission in relation to the judge's entry. There's an enormous amount of work that goes into the preparation of that. And you've seen the other night when Rachel Hogg done her presentation on the performance at our workshop online. She done that preparation and the statistics of the Wonders of Wynyard and her recommendations of what was going on there and up to date. You just realise the effort and what it means to have staff that can do a preparation like that. And I'd also like to pay credit to the volunteers, the people down there that just give their time freely with the knowledge of to any visitors that come in. You can't get information like that those volunteers can provide. You know, someone will come in with a caravan with a bearing going in the axle. Who can tell you where to go to get your axle fixed in if you're a tourist? Who can tell you where to go and get a haircut? Who can tell you where the best fishing spots are? All those things, you know, and then the various exhibitions that are engaged down there at the Wonders of Wynyard. All credit to the arrangements and the bookings of those to give those visitors a variety of things. I know it's not the same visitors coming in all the time, but a variety. And lastly but not least, the Ramsley Vintage Car Collection. That is the main Australian post of that establishment down there. To have that there as a permanent, we've got no idea the amount of people, and as Rachel mentioned the other night, that is one of the things that's really propped us up during the COVID. So yeah, in all, big night, a lot of coverage for Tasmania. Tasmania done really well. 8 golds out of the 25 awards. There was 8 golds went to Tasmania, and silver and bronze. I think there was 5 and 3, and them runners up. And I think out of the 25 awards, we would have this state would have figured in at least 60% of the placings, and about 30% of the golds. So big night for Tassie. People are looking at Tassie in a big way. So I think our facilities and whatever we've got to cater for the visitors is going to be stretched to the limit in the near future. So that's about all I'd have to say. It was a great ending to a great night. We were well down the list, probably second last in the awards. We had several interviews with TV up there and things like that, and other recorded interviews on the presentations, and so it'll be ongoing, the benefit we receive from winning this award. And I'd like to thank everyone that's been involved, and that's about all I have to touch on in the Mayor's announcements for now. Item 4.2, the Mayor's communications. There's a list of my activities during the last month there from the previous meeting. Someone like to move on those?
So move, Mr Mayor.
Deputy I'll second the motion.
Councillor Fairbrother.
Question, if I may.
Oh,
Mayor.
yeah, sorry.
Just 16th of the 2nd, staff farewell. Is councillors be advised as to which staff member?
Yes, we have.
We have.
You can't remember? No, I can't. Chantel French. Any further questions? No further questions. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried. 4.3 reports nil by delegates, nil received. 4.4 notification of council workshops. There is a list of noted the following workshops and the record of attendance by councillors. We have a motion on that, please.
So move, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Dunya moved.
I'll second that.
Councillor Ireland, I think. Thank you. Okay, any questions regarding that 4.4 on the agenda? No, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 5.1 responses to public questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. It's all listed. Public questions received in writing. They're listed. And we go to public questions without notice and public statements received in writing and public statements without notice. And just before we take those on board, I just, as the Mayor, the Council encourages community participation in its meetings through the opportunity for public questions and statements. Consistent with Council's core values, councillors and staff strive to ensure all people are treated with courtesy, fairness, dignity and respect. We expect our residents and ratepayers to apply similar standards in their dealings with Council. As Mayor, it's my responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of Council meetings and to determine whether a question or statement is out of order due to the use of offensive, objectionable or defamatory expressions. I know members of the public will show consideration and courtesy in their comments. Thank you. So, Mr GM, Mr Hutchinson, you have a statement and a question? Thank you.
Evening, Mayor and councillors.
Good evening.
First question is, when was the idea of relocating the English Pony Club to the Aldina Forest Reserve first proposed to council or councillors?
Mr. GM, do we need to take that on notice for research, or could you recall?
Through Mr. I think we will. I think it will be best to find those exact dates and come back to Mr. Hutchison.
Thank you. My second question's in parts. It's for you, Mayor.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with Mr. Crawford on Wednesday, and I invited you along, but you're unable to come, so I had some questions for you. So I'm just wondering, when did you conclude working for Forestry, and do you still have any connections with current employees of Sustainable Timber Tasmania?
I can relate to Easter 2000 is when I ceased employment with Forestry Tasmania. And do I still have connection with staff members? I would say no, other than official correspondence that I have as the mayor from that we receive as a council.
Yep. Second part was, have you ever had any involvement with the Wynyard or English Pony Club, and do you have any active involvement in the club now?
I am a foundation member of the Northwestern Pony Club, which was formed in about 1961 or 58. Around that, hang on, I would have been about 12. So we'll make that 1958. And only just recently that particular Northwestern Pony Club members decided they may have a get-together, a reunion, but then the name was changed to the English Pony Club 30 years later. So what do I have to do with it now? Nothing.
Nothing?
My family went through the Pony Club as children, and they're well and truly grown from Pony Club age now.
Okay, and so there's no other family connection with the Pony Club at this present time?
No.
Okay, thank you. So as part of your endurance riding, is that in any way...
Yeah, point of order, Mr. Mayor. Is this relevant? This is like sitting on a jury, judge and jury. If the
Well, we're not making
question,
judgments, we're just asking questions.
gentleman asking the
Councillor
questions,
Yeah.
if he needs to get all that information, I think he needs to make an appointment with you
Okay.
and get it. I don't see the relevance at a council meeting.
Okay, I'll make myself available for that situation, Mr. Hutchison. It was unfortunate that I couldn't be here on Wednesday because I had to leave early to get to Maroochydore and things like that. So look, I will, at your convenience, make a call and I'll fill you in on these things.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I'm just concerned about, I guess, the perception amongst the public that your connections with the English Pony Club over the years might continue to this point. I know you say no.
Point of order again, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to see those perceptions. I'm in the community a fair bit around and about, and I've heard nothing but positive feedback for what we're doing with the Pony Club.
I don't think that's a point of order. I'm just making my statement. Okay.
Okay.
So in 2015, there was an article in the Advocate, a Coobra mare on horseback. Couple of quotes: Waratah Wynyard Mayor and endurance rider Robbie Walsh. When his family came along, the Walsh kids joined the local pony club. When I go up in the bush on my horse for a couple of hours riding around Forestry fire breaks, I enjoy the peace and quiet. So it was revealed in that article that you're quite a horse lover and a talented endurance rider. Nothing against you there. You've also got connections with Forestry. I'm just wondering, it's a rhetorical question, whether this is a legacy park for you, Mayor, or is it the best interests of the entire Waratah Wynyard community?
Mr. Hutchison, if you're making allegations against my connection with this organisation and seeing it through, well, look, I'd like you to put that in writing on paper for me to take it further.
Okay, I'll do that. But my question internally is, why doesn't the community get the first say when it comes to the proposal that the council puts forward? So the reason why I asked when the idea of relocating the Pony Club was first touted is because it was suggested by the General Manager that it was actually in 2016 or 2015 when Forestry offered, as a matter of public record, the space for council to consider a takeover. So I'm just wondering if the decision around the Pony Club was actually from 5 or 7 years ago, when it was quite clear that the community wanted some active involvement in the future of this space. And then in November I passed a motion about engaging the community, the council to engage the community, which councillors all voted to adopt in the November council meeting, to have a community meeting. That didn't happen, okay, rightly or wrongly. The council put out a plan, so the idea is already seeded. So I'm very concerned about that process. There was no expression of interest for the Aldina Reserve concept plan. It was just released. It feels to me like it was just backroom handshakes to benefit people without really a public consultation process before that process. So I've got a lot of ideas for the space, and some of them are compatible with the Pony Club. So I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying that
You're making a fair few allegations, though,
process.
Mr. Hutchinson, and like, if this is a statement, put it in writing so we can process it.
Well, this is my chance to make a statement for the public to benefit from. So I could go and suggest some whiz-bang alternatives, but it feels like it'll probably be disregarded. The point of the public motion was to bring the community to the discussion table first, but we find out the reserve plan was potentially already a done deal. I'm not sure. And last week the General Manager indicated that Council ideally would not have any lease or management of any part of the site. So I just asked councillors what exactly is going on in this process, and I also have a genuine concern for the Frederick Street Reserve. So it doesn't take much thinking to ask what will occupy the public land following a potential Pony Club relocation. So there is already talk in the community, and a staff member from within this council indicated that council potentially wants to subdivide for residential development. So right or wrong, these are the rumours, yet the General Manager has stated there are no plans yet. So I'm just concerned about what's going on behind the scenes, because like Councillor Hyland pointed out earlier on, I didn't know what was going on, despite asking a lot of questions, and it seems like the public is being kept in the dark. So I try to keep aloof of the affairs from a public point of view, and it feels like the public's not being completely informed about what's going on. And
That's your opinion,
Yep.
Councillor, Mr. Hutchinson, and look,
yeah, I've already suggested.
I think you've taken your time.
That term referring to me is, I find offensive. So
What was
can
that?
you please withdraw that statement?
What was that? Oh, I actually accidentally.
Yeah, well, sorry, it's happened once. Okay.
Okay, well, I apologise
Thank you.
for accidentally calling you Councillor,
All right. Thank you.
Mr.
All right.
Hutchinson.
And my second part of this statement, and this is directed to.
Well, you've got to make it fairly brief, because you've
Yep.
gone 7 minutes at the moment,
Got a-
and
got a big
we're not
night, I
here
know.
for all night for you.
All right, Councillor Fairbrother. Again, I reiterate my statements from the December meeting. I'm not sure if you had time to listen to that, but you need to step aside at least temporarily until May, pending the outcome of your court case. So this council, other councillors and municipality do not deserve to be tainted by the allegations you are facing. Okay, no judgments. I am aware that being on council is not an exact science, but if you could see things from the public's perspective, our municipal brand is being damaged. Right or wrong, that's what I feel is happening. The Boat Harbour Beach brand is being damaged, of which you have a substantial financial stake in, and there is a chance that you have been wronged, or that the magistrate will see your defence in the way you hoped for. But with every news article comes another indirect negative association with Waratah Wynyard. Okay, this is not a criticism, this is a suggestion. So if you have the community's best interest at heart, please don't let it drag on. You've resigned once before out of necessity. Surely it's not too much of an ask to take a leave of absence to acknowledge the situation you're facing. Please think about your community.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchinson, for your time tonight. Okay, Mr. Ewington, you have a statement. Would you like to present that, please?
Precinct Master Plan. The draft Wynyard Sports Precinct Master Plan is a wonderful concept in theory, but many community members are concerned that this project is ongoing as the ongoing maintenance of facilities is going to be a huge cost to the ratepayers. While supporting facilities in recreation grounds and important inclusion in our towns and communities to promote physical activity and help build relationships through social interaction and improve mental health, it is important to not make expensive and unnecessary purchases and at using ratepayers' money. Wynyard is a small country town and cannot afford large, expensive sporting facilities that are more suited to a bigger city. I have spoken with members of the Wynyard community and surrounding areas to gather feedback that there are a few key concerns that have been raised regarding this project. The main concern is the extra cost that will burn ratepayers in Waratah Wynyard municipality. The budget for the project is estimated $7.2 million, with ongoing occupational costs estimated to be nearly $300,000 every year. This represents a rate increase of roughly 3.343% rateable property per year. When will this ongoing increase end? What happens with maintenance cost increase? A yearly increase ratepayers' funds to afford the maintenance of these facilities is not sustainable, and this project has the potential to end up on being a huge financial burden to Wynyard. The master plan has noted that the operational improvements will need to be achieved to fund the additional costs by decreasing expenditure in other areas or increase revenue streams. What other council services and facilities will be lost, reduced in order to afford this? If the project can only go ahead if it receives all of the above, rate increases each year, decreasing expenditure in other services, plus necessary to receive federal state grant funds to afford the initial costs. Is the proposed project affordable and appropriate given the small population here? Another concern raised by a resident heavily involved in the sporting community is the inclusion of cricket turf wickets on the grounds where AFL is also played currently. Alderson, Wynyard are the only areas in North West Coast which have a separate turf wicket ground, which is an advantage for players. After the end of the AFL season, the centre of the ground is a mud heap and can take 6 weeks or more preparing the ground for cricket season. It has been said that turf wicket, cricket and AFL should not happen on the one ground. There may be a negative impact on smaller clubs as the facilities are centralised in Wynyard. The areas which are existing sport grounds, such as Yolla and Somerset, rely on these clubs as social bubbles for inclusion, community building, personnel relationships and health. It is important to ensure that these clubs are not disadvantaged with the new changes. If the Waratah Wynyard Council and other stakeholders want to continue with this project with all the desired qualities and features, it is important to consider whether the financial cost is affordable for the town, what the impact will be to the individual community members. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Tracy Jones, did you intend to ask your question still?
As I read the website over the week, As I read the website over the weekend to read the agenda, I thought I was reading the attachments for this meeting, and the attachment that I read was to do with the historical buildings. And the lady who met me outside said it was actually last month's meeting. I'm surprised that I selected the wrong month's attachments.
Okay.
Because I don't normally do things like that. So, and I'm sorry I couldn't attend last month. Family were travelling through.
Understand.
So, if the attachments that I was reading relate to last month rather than this month, then my question's irrelevant.
Okay. And
Oh, sorry, the question was whether the list of historical buildings was a definitive list.
Yeah,
And I've been told not.
as the GM just suggested, we'll check it out and get back to you during the week.
Oh yeah, thank you. Not a biggie.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes our questions and statements for this evening. 6.1 deputations and presentations. 6.11 Mr. N. Pike re the change of name for Dix Road, Boat Harbour. There is a recommendation there, councillors, from the research that's been done on Dix Road. Is anyone...
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move as the recommendation we've got in front of us. Thank you.
Move Councillor Bramish.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Seconded Deputy Mayor Daniel. Any discussion? Yeah, Councillor Bradley. Oh, sorry. The mover of the motion goes first. Mr. Councillor Bramish, do you wish to start to open the debate?
If I may, this is quite interesting that this has come before us. I think it's an insult to the people that's got the last name Dick. And I know some very nice people with that name. The name Dick was put there for Elvin Dick, as we read in there, that made the subdivision years ago. And if some small-minded people take offence to the name Dick on a sign, their mind is in another place, I can assure you of that. And it's just ridiculous that this has come before us. I don't know who's taking the signs. I don't know whether the people there are taking the signs out of protest, but I guess if they keep going, the signs, maybe we write the name on the road where people can see it if emergency services need to go down there. So I just urge councillors to support this motion and look, people say to me the world's gone mad, and I say no, it's the people in it. Righto, Maureen, you can have your go.
Thank you, Councillor Bramish. Councillor Bradley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going with this recommendation. I think this petition raised by residents of Dix Road is an insult to the Dick family and its descendants. The family are proud of their family name, and why wouldn't you? Everyone would be proud of their family name. The Dick family are well known around the Wynyard area. Elvin Dick had several businesses, and one was his farm at Banksia Park Estate. His cattle were named Banksia Beef. His wife, Margaret Dick, lived at 7 Dix Road, hence the name. At that stage, there were only 4 houses present. In the 40 years or more, the name has never been an issue. People had respect for one another, and the surname and your surname that were given to you. I am going against I'm going with the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Bradley. Any further speakers? Councillor Edwards.
The only thing that I wanted to say was that if the sign is constantly being taken, for future recommendations that we look into a more permanent sign fixture around it.
Okay. Any further speakers?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes, just
Councillor Daniel.
very briefly, I speak in favour of it. I'm certainly not against it, and I concur with the comments that have been made. When we consider the name Dick, and what about all the other names that people could take offence at? And I'm thinking of Sid Sidebottom, and therefore people could actually take offence at that surname. So I think that it's a very, very small matter. It's rather petty, and I certainly don't support any change of this road name.
Thank you, Councillor Daniel. There's been no speakers against the motion, so I'll put the motion at that. All in favour, please indicate. Against? Carried unanimously. There are no planning authority items. Responses to questions taken from notice from the previous meeting from councillors. Neil, councillors' questions receiving in writing. Councillor Courtney there at the Somerset Basketball Stadium, her question's been had a response. We're now at 8.3, councillors' questions without notice. Do we have any councillor questions without notice? Councillor Bradley.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I was talking to a tourist from who was in the toilet at Boat Harbour Beach at the weekend. She had an appointment with me and she was an hour late. She explained to me that the toilet wouldn't let her out and she didn't have her phone to phone anybody to come and help her. So I'm just wondering, was there a fault with the electric doors or is that being looked into? Please.
Thanks, Councillor Bradley. Mr. GM will take note of that and investigate.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm unaware of that particular situation, so I'm happy to take it on notice and investigate. Yeah.
Thank you. Any further councillors' questions without notice? Councillor Fairbrother.
Mayor, my question is, can Ms Trudy Jones be advised that if she's got an interest in the potential heritage register that council wishes to add to it, perhaps she could be advised that tomorrow there is a meeting of the Wynyard Historical Society that perhaps may well be a location to discuss her interest in the heritage buildings of Wynyard. I believe the Wynyard Historical Society meeting starts at 2 p.m. at the Wynyard Community Centre tomorrow, 22nd or whatever the date is tomorrow.
Good.
So she might be well advised if she can be, and I'm sure she is now.
I guess so. I guess your question identifies the information she needs to gather.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to notices of motion nil received. 10.1, the Wynyard Sports Precinct Master Plan final adoption. There is a recommendation there, councillors.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Daniam.
I'll second that.
Councillor Edwards. Any speakers?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yep.
This is one of our biggest projects that we are undertaking, certainly for the forthcoming year or whenever the funding is available for this to go ahead. And look, I think we need to congratulate the officers and the staff on the vast amount of work that they have undertaken over quite a long time to get this sports precinct plan together. It is an amazing project, and certainly when we look at the strategic plan, it aligns with 7 goals of our strategic plan on page 26. And I think that the outcome of this particular project is that there will be collaborative, positive social impact for school and community, giving inclusion to all communities. So I do ask that the councillors support this motion.
Any further speakers?
Yep. I just wanted to talk about point 3. The road impact assessment, and I'm happy to take this on notice. So when are we looking at doing this, and over how long does it take to get the answers that you need for that? And I also wanted to for you to take into consideration that it would be good for it not to be done in school holidays, as it doesn't give a true reflection of the road usage. Plus, the school is sitting at a 50% attendance record at the moment through this COVID wave, so it will not give a true reflection on the usage of the road.
Okay, we have that question from Councillor Edwards. Mr. Jam, we'll take that on board.
Yeah, through Mr. Mayor. Look, to the best of my knowledge, there's no time earmarked at this point, Councillor Edwards. So, and it's not an urgent necessarily part of the project. Whilst the plan does have a possible closure of Austin Street earmarked, there's clearly a lot of work to put in before that can, or may or may not happen. So, the traffic or road impact assessment is the first step in that process. So, look, I suspect it's probably more likely to be next financial year at this point in time.
Thanks, Mr. GM. Councillor Hyland.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just make a comment on the same issue, Austin Street. I think it really needs a real close look at it, because as well as it may inconvenience a small few people if that does get closed off, I think we should be looking at the bigger long-term picture, because when this thing actually gets up and running in a few years' time, there's going to be a number of sports happening on the same day at the precinct, and there's going to be a lot of movement of a lot of people, children at the basketball centre, and the same deal playing cricket of a morning, and there's going to be a lot of issues regarding traffic and pedestrians. And I think for the small, I'm not going to die on the vine if it doesn't happen, but I think you should look well into the future with all the sports happening at the one time, and I think a little bit of common sense may prevail in the long term.
Thank you, Councillor Hyland. Councillor Bradley.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, could you explain to me which is Austin Street? Because I went down there tonight on my way around here, and Austin Street was pointing to a grass track that leads along towards the school. Is it a grass track or is it a road?
Austin Street runs from down at the cemetery in the riverbank right through to the airport on the other end. Austin
I'm
Street.
sure the sign's been turned or
Well,
something.
It's possible. It's possible, but that's Austin Street that runs past the main gate of the football ground in a north-south.
Yeah, well, this one was pointing up this grass track, so
Yeah.
I thought, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. We could shut that down.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the intent of the proposed closure was just to provide a linkage between, I guess, the Wynyard Recreation Ground across to the basketball centre, and then ultimately through to the high school. So it was just that portion that sort of sits, if you like, opposite the gate of the Wynyard Recreation Ground to the recreation centre. So it's just that section there that's spoken about in the plan.
No worries. Any further speakers? No further speakers. No one spoken against the motion. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please indicate. Against? Carried. Item 10.2, the draft Ballard Avenue Recreation Reserve Development Options Paper for public consultation.
I'll move the motion, Mayor.
Councillor Fairbrother moved. Councillor Hyland seconded. You wish to open the debate, Councillor Fairbrother?
Yeah, I do, Mayor. Thank you. This particular recommendation puts out for further public discussion the concepts which are articulated in the draft report, and that being one, preservation of the landscape there, which has been acknowledged as being significant. The acknowledgement has come about because of community input already, which has been valued, and I think within the report it is recognised that the community input that has been provided forms part of this draft Ballard Avenue Recreational Reserve Development Options Paper. There is a number of other concepts which have been mooted as well. One's again been much mooted dog exercise area has been identified for the area, as well as something else which is much needed in the community, which is a park-up area for recreational vehicle users. If that does come to fruition, and perhaps it is dependent on further community consultation, it could be meeting a number of community needs within the one precinct, which would, if community consultation provides, could be a good outcome for the community. But I note that already tonight we have had it identified in our public submissions that there is, in the forestry area, it appears opposition to some proposals that we put out. So I guess we need to be cognizant of the fact that regardless of what's proposed, there will always be opposition in the community from some sectors to anything positive council tries to do. So hopefully in this one we get some positive feedback. I'm sure the local Wynyard Land Care Group will be satisfied with the preservation or proposed preservation of the Brookiania gum tree, which I don't think anyone was aware of existed within the town until it was pointed out to council. So I welcome and invite the community to provide us with some feedback on what they propose for that area.
Thank you, Councillor Fairbrother. Any further speakers before against? I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Item 10.3, the Youth Plan, Health and Wellbeing Plan, Age-Friendly Community Plan. The recommendation there, councillors, to address those.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam moved.
I'll second that.
Councillor Edwards seconded. You wish to open the debate, Councillor?
No.
Deputy Mayor Duniam?
No, I think that it's fairly clear. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Self-explanatory? Okay. I will put the motion. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. We're now at 10.4, the rural waste collection, and Mr GM, do you wish to...
Yeah, if I can, Mr Mayor, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment before, and ultimately councillors can move whatever they wish to as per this item, but I thought an important part of the recommendation was perhaps missed, and an important step. So I was going to suggest that an additional item be added to the recommendation. As I said, ultimately councillors can move as they so wish, but currently the recommendation reads to note feedback received at the 2021 rural waste collection and then proceed with the expansion of all-in services and negotiate all-in at Waratah and so forth. I think the important step missed there is perhaps item 2, which is actually proceed to procure collection services for Leonard Drive, Little Village and Waratah pockets, subject to obtaining quotes and undertaking targeting communication on the cost implications with the affected ratepayers. So whilst we have a range, and we've promoted a range, a price range, and that's throughout the report, we haven't gone and got the exact cost. So what we're saying here, that if this item's supported tonight, we would then proceed to go and get the exact costs for that service, and then if that was favourable or in line with what was consulted, then we can proceed with the introducing the service. If it comes back higher than what was expected or predictable, then that would involve another discussion and potentially more consultation. So I think that's an important step that was missed. It was getting the exact pricing clarified.
Yep. Thanks for that update there, Mr GM, and councillors. Quite happy with that? Makes good. Yep. Okay. Any? Okay. We'll move on this motion, 10.4. Do we have a move and a seconder, please?
I'll move, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Hyland moved.
I'll second that, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Duniam seconded. Councillor Hyland, you wish to speak?
Oh, Mr Mayor, the fact that we've done the surveys and got some positive feedback, and it's just another step in expanding our recovery of rubbish in the municipality and just widening that. And I think it's a good thing. I'll support the motion.
Good for the environment.
Good for the environment.
Yep. Any further speakers? If not, I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. We now move on to 10.5 with the Senior Management Report. The recommendation is that the Council note the monthly Senior Management Report.
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Seconded.
Councillor Fairbrother seconded. Any speakers? Any questions? No speakers? No.
Yeah, Mayor, it would be remiss of me not to highlight on page 44 of the agenda, where it starts talking about the public consultation of the Waratah Wynyard Planning Scheme. I believe the new Tasmanian Planning Scheme has been put out for in the draft form for public consultation. It has been a long time coming. Council sent the draft report off to the TPC for their approval back in 4th of July 2019. Nearly 3 years on, there has been some argy-bargy between council staff and the TPC to get it to where it is released for public submission. However, I believe we as a council need to stress the importance of community feedback about this new planning scheme, particularly the land use provisions. So I'm highlighting that within the senior management report as something that the community need to heed, is the fact that it has been advertised, opportunity exists for input, and we as council would welcome feedback on the community's thoughts about the land use planning or the LPS land use provisions. So I welcome that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further speakers regarding this motion?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, just
Councillor Hyland.
well, one point there that probably most people consider public consultations is a 30-day period. This is 60 days, so there's quite a time for people to get their say, and so we need to probably highlight that a bit if we...
Yep, plenty of time.
Yep, plenty of time.
Yep. Any further speakers? Councillor Edwards.
I just wanted to ask a question on the Aldina Forest Reserve concept plan. We had some consultation feedback at the council chambers and down the main street. I just wanted to ask, do we have much feedback from those events, and do we know how many attended, like especially at the council chambers?
Do we have that information on hand, Mr GM, or we need to follow that up?
I don't, sorry, Mr Mayor. I'm not even sure exactly how many submissions we've received through our website. I understand there's a few, but I'm not sure of the exact number. We've held those two, I'll call them listening posts or community drop-in sessions. We'll equally use next Monday night's community conversation as a further opportunity for interested members of the public to come along and speak to elected members around these particular plans, and we'll make that part of our promotion of next Monday night, with a view then that we'll close the consultation next week, and then we'll collate the information from there and pass that on to Sustainable Timbers. But I'm happy to find that information out for you, Councillor Edwards.
Thanks, Mr GM. Happy with that, Councillor Edwards? Councillor Fairbrother.
Mayor, top of page, again 44, General Manager indicated that he met with members of the CMCA. As part of that discussions, were they invited to make a submission on the Ballard Avenue proposal, given that the Ballard Avenue proposal's only been put out tonight?
Through Mr Mayor, the CMCA members were informed that at this meeting a report was to come to council to put the Ballard Avenue plan out for public exhibition, and they were invited to make a submission as part of that process. So whether or not they choose to do so or not is entirely up to them, but they have been informed of the process.
Thank you, Mr GM.
Yeah, thank you. Just further to Councillor Edwards' comment about the Aldina Forest Reserve, Mayor, as we were sitting here contemplating the public submissions, I guess I was racking my brain as to, well, where did that concept evolve from? I don't know whether it goes back to the former general manager. I can't recall, but I know that it has been in train for some time, and I guess for me, council have been at pains to be tight-lipped about the project because there was a number of stakeholders in it, and council was trying to coordinate all of the stakeholders, and I believe council staff has done an exemplary job to try and bring everybody together in the face of community questioning. And I guess we couldn't go and announce something before the stakeholders had been consulted and the ducks had been lined up. So whilst I appreciate that there is a level of curiosity amongst a sector. I don't say it's a wide community, even though it's purported that there is community concern. There is an element in the community where there is some curiosity as to about how it occurred. I say, for me and where I sit around this table, I say that it was a damn fine job for council staff to be able to pull the stakeholders together and line up the ducks in a row so that we are where we are at the moment. There is further opportunity for community input into that concept, which I welcome. Criticism, whilst it might be there, to me is not assisting us in moving forward with delivering this project.
Yeah,
Community feedback is welcome, and I invite
Councillor, I think you've covered your point at this stage. Thank
positive feedback in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I haven't got to the stage of putting this motion yet. Senior Management Report. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. 10.6, the financial report for the period ended the 28th of February. There is a recommendation there that we receive that.
I'll move that.
Councillor Edwards moved.
I'll second it.
Councillor Hyland seconded. Any questions? Any questions? That's mainly questions, I guess. No questions? Thank you very much for that report. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried. Matters proposed for consideration in the closed meeting. There is that the council resolved by an absolute majority that the matters listed below be considered in the closed meeting. Someone like to move that, please?
So moved, Mr Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Daniel. Councillor Hyland seconded. I'll put the motion. All in favour, please say aye. Against? Carried.